Let's get groovy. No more talk of grip strength.
Howdy roundabout, all you Shaggy Goose Egg Boys, and welcome back to another spectacular episode of Al Pacino's Prison Scene.
Al Pacino.
Today, we're talking about a movie. We are once again brought to you by Disney Plus, or at least I am. I don't know about Jake. Is that how you feel about Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Mandalorian.
Doo-doo.
But today we had a recommendation, and Jake has the email pulled up, or so I'm told.
So this is from our boy, Hayden Porter,
who also recommended How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon, a.k.a. Logan, a.k.a. Wolverine, because he looks like Wolverine.
Oh, I thought you were saying that How to Train Your Dragon and Logan were the same movie.
Hey, man. I haven't seen Logan since I started this journey, so it may be. We'll have to see.
Is Logan the dragon, or is the girl the dragon? Probably the girl.
No. I think the dragon is...
Professor X?
No, Logan.
Okay.
Now I want to talk about this.
Just read the email.
Okay. So, subject line, request. All right, well, I guess since he's been on here a few times, he gets to make those demands. He says, greetings. As we all know, Holes is the greatest cinematic experience of all time. Only short of, I don't know, Transformers maybe? I appreciate that.
The correct answer was Shrek, but I'll let this one slide.
The correct answer is Sonic.
No.
Why is this? What makes it so good? I would love for you guys to dive into this film and let me know why. Well, number one, Hayden, let me tell you, we're not here to tell you if movies are good or bad. We're here to tell you what they mean. And being a fan, I would think that you would know that. But
well, also, I have first of all, let me say, when I was watching this, I didn't know that this is what Hayden said in the email, but I was thinking this might be like the best, like, overall quality good movie that we've talked about on the podcast, because it was just like from start to finish I was like, man, this is a pretty good movie.
Shrek is in this.
Yeah, but Shrek's Shrek.
Okay.
I was going somewhere else with that, but I forgot what it was. Anyways,
also I don't know if you're the biggest fan, Hayden, I'm sorry. Look up Hayden Porter on Facebook. He's doing his practicum thesis film. Wait, is this going to come out before or after?
Gerald's Game. I don't know.
Okay.
This is coming out on the day it comes out in March.
And I
think, what's today?
I don't know.
Okay. Today is the day it comes out, March.
Depending on what time this comes out, check out Hayden Porter on Facebook. He's doing his thesis practicum film called Gerald's Game, as Thomas O put. I am first AC, Thomas is second AC. I get to boss him around.
I don't think that's how that works. Better out than in, I always say.
But make sure you go check that out.
I think you have the boring job and I have the fun job.
And go check him out and donate to his project. Thank you very much. Also, I meant to say this last week or whenever we recorded an episode. My mother might be our biggest fan. I know that she will, and I know Hayden watches this too. But it's tied between.
Listens. Can't watch a podcast.
It's between Hayden, Sam, and my mom. But she says, subject, feeling inspired. Always inspired to watch the films that you all discuss. She's from the north, so she doesn't use y'all.
Okay.
Whether
it's
I've
pretty
seen
close,
them,
though.
Whether I've
That's
seen
the
them,
northerners, y'all.
Whether I've seen them before or not, I always listen and then watch. I'm about to cough. I gotta drink my water. Thanks, Mom. I love you. Ah!
Well, if you watch the movie after our episode, then you already know everything that's going to happen. But I guess you can.
Well, because she hadn't seen Mom and Dad.
I guess it opens your mind.
Right.
But.
I got another email here.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
Okay, good. So Holes, all right. I'm not sure. See, there's things in this movie that I forgot, but then as I was watching, I was like, oh yeah. And so I'm not sure if I watched this movie a lot as a kid, but I definitely watched it at least twice. And I know for a fact my family owns it. It's on our bookshelf. So, Dad, you have access to this.
If you go to Thomas's secret library, at his parents' house.
Or my Disney Plus account, because that's how I watched it.
By the way, his parents' address is
777 Satan Lane. Our neighbors are 666.
Saskatchewan, Canada.
Yeah.
P.O. Box 427.
I had something else in response to say to Hayden's email. I completely forgot what it was. So I'm just gonna go into a recap. This movie opens. This dude, barf bag, he gets bit by a lizard. Now he's dead. And then somewhere else, shoes fall out of the sky and hit our good old boy Shia LaBeouf. But maybe he's not a good old boy anymore because grown up problems. Look him up. See what's going on. It's not good.
Taxes.
Yeah, taxes. So Stanley Yelnats gets hit in the head with shoes, and the cops are like, "You stole these shoes," and he's like, "No, I didn't." And they're like, "Yeah, you did." And he's like, "Okay." So then they send him to this camp, Green Lake, and then they're like, "Hey, kid, this ain't Girl Scout camp. Go dig a hole." And he's like, "Oh man." So he starts digging holes, and all the other kids are like, "We don't have real names here. We have fake names." And he's like, "Okay." And they're like, "Your fake name is Caveman, but not yet. You'll get that later." He's like, "Okay." And then there's this other kid named Zero who doesn't talk at all, but then he starts talking to Stanley because Stanley's cool. And then Zero's like, "Hey, if you teach me how to read, I'll dig your hole for you." And Stanley's like, "Okay." But at this point, he's Caveman.
Right.
So then Caveman, earlier in the film, found this thing. And then X-Ray was like, "Hey, give me the thing." And Caveman said, "Okay." So they give X-Ray the thing, and X-Ray's like, "Look, I found the thing." And then they're like, "Warden, come down here. You gotta see this thing that they found." And Warden's like, "Hey, this is a pretty good thing." So then the next couple of days, they dig like a fortress under the ground, but then they don't find anything else because X-Ray lied, and that's not really where Stanley found it. And then Zero's like, "I'm running away because Stanley, y'all say I can't learn how to read anymore." And Stanley's like, "He's real smart." And then Tim Blake Nelson's like, "Oh yeah, what's this spell? CAT, stupid."
No.
Yeah.
DIG.
No, but first he asks him how to spell cat.
Oh.
Yeah. Stupid.
And then he says D. Well, actually, it's more like DIG.
And then Zero says, "Dig!" and whacks him with the shovel.
No, he whacks him and then says dig.
Well, then how is he going to know he said the right answer?
Because it's a cinema.
Okay. It's a cinema.
Yeah.
It's an enema. Mine,
No.
I see an anemone.
No, that's what X-Ray got when he found the thingy.
I see anemone?
An enema.
Oh, okay.
C enema.
All right. So then Zero runs away, and Stanley's like, "Man, now I'm sad." And there's a new kid. He's like, "My name's Twitch. I stole a car." And then Stanley's like, "Well, I'm going to run away now. I drove the truck into a ditch." My pencil just fell on the floor.
Do you want a new one?
Nope. And then Stanley runs away, and he finds Zero, and Zero's like, "You want some sploosh?" And then Stanley's like, "That sounds gross." And then he's like, "Well, I'm drinking it." And they're like, "Okay, oh, it tastes like peaches." And then they run up to God's thumb and they're like, "Look at me, I'm the king of the world, eating these onions and drinking the water." And they go back down and they're like, "Oh, we found the treasure. It's got my name on it because my name is Stanley Yelnats." And then Sigourney Weaver's like, "Hey, that's not yours, that's mine." And then the DHR lady's like, "No, it's not. It's got his name on it." And then they leave.
No, Zero says that.
Happily ever after. But there's also another storyline.
Okay, I was going to ask you if you were going to get to that.
And this lady's like, "Man, I love teaching kids. And this guy, Sam's pretty cool. He sells onions. Sam, I'm going to kiss you." Uh-oh. Sam's black. They don't like that. So they're going to kill him. And then she's like, "Well, now I'm going to kill them." And her name is Kissing Kate Barlow. And she kills all these guys and shoots them and then kisses them. And then she's like, "Stanley Yelnats, your grandfather. I got you, but I didn't kill him because he's a good guy." And then Stanley Yelnats' great-great-great-grandfather was like, "Hey, I'm going to marry this girl that's really dumb, so I got to grow a pig." And Madame Zeroni was like, "Oh, but you got to come back for me." But he didn't come back for her. And it turns out Zero's name was Hector Zeroni.
Zeroni?
So when they went up to the mountain and did whatever I said a minute ago, the Stanley Yelnats got rid of the curse because he carried Zeroni up the mountain. Woohoo, the end. Also, Hector found his mom. Hector is Zero.
No, the private detective found his mom.
And then they hugged. And then the whole time his dad was trying to destroy shoe odor, and then they created Sploosh, and the famous guy that Zero stole the shoes from, but really framed Stanley. He's like, "Hey, buy Sploosh," and then everyone's like, "Woo, we're camp's canceled because that was illegal." The end. That was the movie.
If only, if only.
Yep.
All right, Thomas.
Sounds.
All right, end it there. All right, Thomas. Let the people know. Let the people know what it's
Look,
about.
look.
Oh, by the way,
This is based on a book. Did you know that?
I did know that, and I also knew that the guy who wrote it, Julius Sackner or whatever his name
Julius
is.
Caesar?
Yeah,
He has great salads.
yeah, he does. Who?
That's a reference to something that
Lou-
probably no
Louis-
one that listens to this
Louis Sacker said that he didn't write his books with any meaning in it.
will know. Did he
Go ahead.
write the movie too?
No, I don't think so.
Well, then doesn't matter
You're right, but I'm just throwing that out there
because I don't know how
Which-
accurate it is to the book.
because I want to say like I don't think that's possible. Or okay, he said that he didn't write with intention. Oh, no, he did. Written by Louis Sacker.
But does it just say that because the book was by him?
No, Holes is a 2003 American adventure comedy film directed by Andrew Davis and written by Louis Sacker. It says screenplay, Louis Sacker.
There's also a Disney film, if you didn't know that. And when it started, I thought I was watching Brother Bear because it opens with the
Yo,
same Walt Disney logo as Brother Bear.
Holes is a banned book.
Yeah, because it's got too many holes.
What? That's dumb.
Sorry, don't worry about that. We're not talking about that.
Okay. I think he said that he didn't intend any meaning.
Okay. Well,
so I thought that was interesting.
I want to read the description that's on Disney Plus because I
Of
think
the film?
I think it's funny. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It says, dogged by bad luck stemming from an ancient family curse, young Stanley Yelnats is sent to Camp Green Lake, a very weird place that's not green and doesn't have a lake. Once there, he's thrown headlong into the adventure of his life, and when he and his colorful campmates, Squid, Armpit, Zigzag, Magnet, X-Ray, and Zero, must dig a hole a day to keep the warden at bay. But
Yo,
why?
does it really rhyme like that?
That's what it says.
Yeah, good.
So this whole thing was weird. So, like, first of all, I love that they say a very weird place that's not green and doesn't have a lake. But then also slightly problematic is they say he and his colorful campmates, given that most of his campmates are people of color. So,
whoa.
Disney, you might want to
check that.
edit that description a little bit.
But they wear orange jumpsuits.
Again, Walt Disney's frozen head. I know you listen to this, so get on that. Tell your people.
Remember that you did that, please.
But yeah, that's holes. That's holes for you.
Down sauerkraut.
Stanley Yelnats. That's such a weird thing.
It is
to have his name.
Yo, if you rewind it with audio on, it still says Stanley Yelnats.
And that's also one of my favorite parts of the movie when Zero's like, "Is your last name your first name backwards?"
Yo, that's why they banned it because it's Satan. You know that thing where it's like Satanists or like parents from like the 80s were like, if you play the tape backwards, it says Satan.
Yes.
So if you play it backwards, it says Stanley Yelnats.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Mickey Mouse is Satan.
Spelled backwards?
Good thing my granddad doesn't listen to this. He would have a problem with that statement.
Ooh.
But yeah. So this movie, what do you think this movie is about?
No, you go first to get my brain juices flowing.
All right.
You're a smarter man than me, Thomas.
Well, so there's two prominent things.
Okay.
One comes together at the end, and it's not like super like ha, but the other one is prevalent throughout, and that is destiny. I dread it, run from it. Destiny arrives. All the same.
I am inevitable.
And by I, he means
you only get $1 for knowing that because you should know that. Okay, I agree with you for sure.
But so I mean, this is seen throughout the film with pretty much all of the characters, all of the main characters
right.
At least, specifically Hector, Stanley, and the warden. Stanley's family is cursed, and so like that carries with him. And then I didn't mention this in the recap, but the warden's granddad was in love with Kate Barlow and
Trout.
Yeah, Trout. And then he used to own the lake. What?
He goes, well, too damn bad.
Yeah, I was expecting you to say that. Oh wait, did I introduce us?
No.
I'm Thomas and he's Jake.
I can fix that.
Yeah, that was also weird to me that he.
Well, too damn bad.
That he kept
Dude,
saying.
That's so funny.
I can fix that.
And then she was like, "Hey Sam, the door's broke."
I can fix that.
Hey Sam, the window's broke.
I can fix that. This is in the wrong order.
Hey
by the way.
Sam, the window's leaky. I mean the roof's leaky.
I can fix that.
Hey Sam, I'm a sad lonely woman.
I can fix that.
Ooh.
And then also when the sheriff was like,
bad.
"It's not illegal for you to kiss him, just for him to kiss you."
How does that work?
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. But anyways, yeah, Destiny.
Okay, and what's the other one?
No, I can't get to that yet.
Oh, you
That has
can't?
to come
Okay,
up
so
later.
so there's one that I was thinking about, and it's with like the idea of holes. And I didn't really think about this too much because I didn't want to write about this. Like the idea of like either like infinity or
And
wholeness.
beyond. Speaking of which, did you know the TV series Buzz Lightyear Star Command had a movie? But all right, hold on. I watched a YouTube video talking about this the other day. Buzz Lightyear Star Command was created before Toy Story 2. But then they were like, hey, no, Toy Story 2 has to come out first. And they were like, okay, now what? So then they created a movie that would be the pilot episode of the Buzz Lightyear Star Command series. But then after they recorded the movie, Patrick Warburton voiced Buzz Lightyear in the series. And then Tim Allen was like, hey, no, I don't want that. So they redubbed the movie with Tim Allen instead of Patrick Warburton. Fun fact.
The one that's coming out.
No. The one from 1998.
There's a show.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You're
Back
uneducated.
yeah, I am.
So it's probably on Disney Plus.
But I don't know where that goes, so I didn't want to talk about that. No, what I want to talk about, Thomas, is the prison system.
Yeah. I kind of figured you would bring that up
Why?
because it's
That's
prison.
what it's about.
Nope.
That's what it's about, baby.
But it's not.
All right. But they kind of go hand in hand. Not necessarily, but kind of.
What, holes?
Yeah. Well, no, our two things.
Oh.
Because, like, I can agree that this movie's about destiny, but I also think that there's, like, the cycle of maybe poverty, if that's how you want to call it. But, like, the cycle
never mind.
of...
Buzz Lightyear Star Command is not on Disney Plus. What's going on there, buddy?
The cycle of the poor getting poorer and the rich getting richer.
This episode's no longer brought to you by Disney Plus.
Absolute power.
Not until... oh, wait, never mind.
Corrupts absolutely. Kind of thing.
That's my thing. I say that.
Okay, we'll say it.
No.
All right, so
Wait,
I'll say
hold on. Speaking of which...
power corrupts. I'll just say that.
Let me look something up.
What is happening right now? Are you talking about the movie still? Or are you on Chris Evans' Buzz Lightyear?
No, not that. I'm looking up something else that's related to this movie.
Infinity.
But potentially not. What year did this come out? 2005?
Yeah, 2003.
Boom, 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 boom.
Which
Mr. Sandman.
I always forget that Tim Allen's actually a really bad guy.
Okay, never mind. I thought Helen Hunter was in this movie.
Helen Hunter?
Yeah.
Like Helen Parr?
Yeah.
Actually?
Yeah.
Actually?
What? Yes.
Like the voice actor for Helen Parr? That's her name is Helen Hunter?
Yes.
No, that's not true. I don't believe you. You talk about Destiny while I look this up.
All right. Well, it's just all cyclical, and I don't really know how to go deeper than this. That's what this movie's good, but I feel like all the meaning is on the surface for the most part, which it's kind of ridiculous that the guy was like, "Yeah, this doesn't have any meaning. This don't mean anything," because the opening line in the movie. So by Stanley Yelnats, he's talking about how his granddad always says, "Your destiny is sealed." And, this is seen by the curse. Like bad things always happen to Stanley, and there's nothing that he can do to escape that. And supposedly this is because of what his great grandfather did. And then the same thing with Zero. Like it was all destiny for him to meet Zero at the camp because they get to the top of the mountain. And then even
Holly Hunter.
Oh, whatever. And then even like when they're at the top of the mountain, Stanley says, "That's destiny." So the idea that this guy wrote this and was like, "Yeah, there's no meaning in here," is complete bullcrap. He knows what he was doing. And then even with the warden, her destiny was to look for the thing because her granddad had said Jake's favorite phrase in the whole world.
Too damn bad.
Yes. But
yo, she's kind of cute.
It's not really about destiny. If you think about it, what it's about is paying for the sins of our forefathers.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of where I was going with like the infinity kind of thing with like the holes, like what goes around comes around. I wanted a better way to say that, but there it is.
Okay. And so that's again seen with Stanley and his grandfather.
And his name.
No. Stanley and his grandfather, and then the warden and her grandfather. And then also, I don't know, I guess Zero, Hector, he shouldn't really be doing anything bad because nothing bad happened to him. But I guess potentially he was also kind of indirectly cursed because Elia Yelnats didn't take Madame Zeroni up the hill. Something like that. But presumably, Hector is like the great grandson of Madame Zeroni's son that was already in America.
Well, what does Madame Zeroni say? She's like, take
Yeah.
me up so I get big and strong too.
Yeah, you have to carry me up the mountain and then let me drink the water and then sing the song and then I can be strong too.
So there may have been like some like implication of like not necessarily like physically strong, but like as it relates to like, you know, success.
Now I've
or
got the
something.
song from Tangled stuck in my head.
Which is what?
Flower, green and grow, let your power shine.
I've never seen Tangled.
Make the clock reverse. Something once was mine.
And I don't think I ever will.
Well, it's Tarantino's favorite Disney movie.
Is that true?
Yeah. You know why?
Damn.
She don't wear shoes.
Oh, I thought you were being serious.
I am being serious. He said in interviews that's his favorite movie.
Because she doesn't wear shoes?
No.
But he just said that.
But everyone knows it's because she doesn't wear shoes.
Again, I haven't seen it, so I can't.
No, she doesn't wear shoes.
All right. Well, Tarantino, if you're out there, I have feet.
If you're out there.
If you're out there, I have feet. I'll let you look at my feet if you hire me.
So I guess I mean like I can't really keep harping on like the Destiny and Legacy thing because you know it's there. I don't know what else to say about it. So I'll move on to my other thing, which is about the onions and the peaches. All right.
Got a lot of
Well, first of all,
peaches.
hold on. This movie. Hold on. I meant to look something else up. This movie was a lot more similar to Shrek than I thought it was going to be.
Yo, I watched a video about early.
All right, and part of that is because there's a song by Eels in this movie.
Demonstration. I mean animation.
What?
I watched a video about early Disney animation.
Well, Shrek is not Disney,
I know, but
and neither this is not animated.
Tangled
so,
is.
Well, that's not early. That's like 2011.
No, I'm not talking about Tangled. I'm talking about early Disney animation.
Well, how is that relevant here?
Because you talked about Tangled.
But it's not early.
I'm not, but I'm making a jump.
Well,
Making a massive leap.
That's not allowed. All right. So there's a song. So like part of the reasons I say this is like Shrek is because as I mentioned in Shrek, every song in the film perfectly encapsulates what's going on in that moment. And I think the same is true in Holes. Now, granted, this time I did not write down every single song that's in the movie because I did not have my phone on me and I couldn't Shazam it. But there were some that I picked up, one of which is by the Eels, who I don't know if we mentioned in the Shrek or not, but they have a song in each of the Shrek movies. And Eels is great. I love them now. They recently came up with a new album. I haven't listened to it yet. Jake did. I don't know what he thinks about it. But
I did.
They have this song, Mighty Fine Blues, which plays when Stanley gives up his... Oh, no. This plays when Stanley's writing the letter full of lies to his mom, being like, yeah, camp is great. I love swimming, and everyone's cool. And there's a song played by Shaggy, the guy that's like, it wasn't me, that song. Shaggy sings a song about paying your dues, which plays when Stanley gives his findings to X-Ray. And then there's a song called Don't Give Up, Never Give Up, which plays when Stanley and Zero are climbing up the mountain. And those, again, are all like, well, yeah, that's exactly what's going on in the scene. But the songs were picked perfectly for that. So that's like Shrek. But then also, onions are metaphorical.
Yes,
right?
they are. And
what?
The grass is green on the mountain. So is Shrek. Or God's thumb, I mean.
Are you saying Shrek is God?
I'm not saying it.
Okay.
Louis Sacker is saying it, and I'm agreeing.
All right. Okay. You hear that, Louis? We found you out.
We know the truth.
What the heck is that? Oh. So onions are prevalent throughout this whole movie. And I was like, what the heck is going on with these onions? It was like at first, Sam was selling them. Sam is the black guy.
Yo. Shrek is God.
Okay.
Because ogres are like onions.
All right.
Okay. And there are onions on God's thumb. And Sam tells people to eat onions because it gives them life. And in Genesis, God breathes life into the earth and creates man. And so if onions is the source of life in this universe, and Shrek is an onion.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Shrek is God. That's so a lot of times on this podcast we get borderline blasphemous. That's just straight up. Like there's no way of misinterpreting.
Follow the logic.
All right. So moving on from that, I'm still going to talk about onions. Like Jake said, Sam is the black guy that Kate Barlow falls in love with, and then everyone has a problem with that because they're all really racist. And
Well,
you know what?
also,
if you're racist, shut up. That's what I say to those
If
people.
you're racist, shut up. But also, it's not just that he's black. It is, but it's also that like Trout is jealous, and Trout is a rich man. Okay, and the rich man wants to stay in power, and when somebody else is succeeding, they have to do what they can to shut them down.
Okay. Sam mentions that onions are, like Jake said, the healing or whatever, and I'm pretty sure that's the first time onions are mentioned.
Because he's like, "Hey there, Mister Marshall, I see your hair's thinning. Go ahead and rub some of that on your head every night,
Well,
and it'll
I
grow
don't
right back."
know if that was onion juice, but the onion juice is said to repel the lizards. But it has these healing properties according to Sam, and I'm pretty sure that's the first time onions are mentioned in the film.
Well, he's also like, "You see here, what's the donkey's name?
Mary Lou.
We see here, Mary Lou, the boat.
Yeah, that's why it's called that.
You see here, Mary Lou here.
Because that's his boat.
She been eating the onions, and she's over 100 years old.
How do you know that, Sam? You're only 25.
Because I eat onions, baby.
Okay.
I can fix that.
And then later in the film, and this is when I started to realize that onions were important. Later in the film,
you didn't realize that they were important from the beginning?
Later, they're not in the beginning.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not. Where?
Because it smelled bad. The shoes smell bad.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Stinky.
All right.
Stinky.
So this is when I realized the onions were important because John Voight's character, I don't know his name, Mr. Sir.
Mr. Sir, yeah. No, actually, Marion.
Which, I was about to say, maybe he's compensating for something, but he definitely is because his name's Marion. At the end, they're like, I didn't know that was a man's name. And he was like,
it's not.
Right.
Or it ain't.
So Mr. Sir is definitely compensating for the fact that he is uncomfortable with his own gender. But so he mentions, like, he's talking to the guy that's making the food in the cafeteria, and he's like, $14 for onions, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what the heck is all that about? $14 for onions. And then later, when they get to the mountain, there's onions up there, and they're like, oh, these onions never tasted so good. And then they feel better because they're healed because of the onions. And then immediately after that, because that's when Stanley broke the curse because he carried Zero up the mountain.
Right.
Stanley's dad, played by Henry Winkler, one of my favorite actors of all time. Hold on. Okay. I had to suck in the burp. It was about to come out.
What does Fonzie say?
Hey, you're cool, dude.
He goes, hey.
I don't know. I've never seen that show.
I mean, I haven't either.
I've seen Barry. He's in Barry.
I have seen Barry. I haven't finished Barry.
I've seen Arrested Development. He's in that.
He is in that.
I've seen Night School. No. After... Well, I don't know what it's called. I've seen the movie where he's a coroner with Michael Keaton. I've seen that movie. Night Shift. Sorry, I just peeked you with a clap. Anyways, the dad is like eating peaches, and he eats peaches on top of the... Oh, hold on. I didn't mention this in the recap.
He goes, hey.
I didn't mention this in the recap, but Stanley's dad is an inventor, and he's trying to... Oh, I did mention this in the recap. Never mind. I'll just say it again. Stanley's dad is an inventor, and he's trying to get rid of foot smell odor.
Food stank.
So like he's eating peaches, and then he sets it while he's working on boiling shoes, and he puts the peaches on top of the stove, and the peaches fall into the thing, and he's like, and then he like picks up the shoe, and he's like,
he goes, hey, do you smell anything?
He gives it to his wife, and he's like, honey, smell the shoe, and she's like, can you wait till I finish eating?
Who is his mom?
I don't know.
Who is his mom, Thomas?
I don't know.
Fred's mom.
Okay.
I was just trying to make a connection.
All right.
Fred exists in this universe.
Anyways, Stanley's mom's like, can you wait till I finish eating? He's like, just $1,000,001. Just smell it, baby. And she's like, I don't smell anything. And then she's like,
hey,
I don't smell anything. And so she gets her dad to smell it, and she's like, and the dad's like, I don't smell anything.
Hey.
And then he says, peaches and onions. That's the secret. And that's when I understood everything. Okay. Because Sam is onions, right? And then Kate Barlow is peaches. Because Kate gives Sam peaches in trade for working the thing. And also peaches is a metaphor for booty, but that's unrelated to this.
Or is it?
For my purposes, yes.
Okay.
And that's also why I know that the Mary Lou is Sam's boat. Because number one, that's the name of his donkey. But number two, the sploosh that is found in there is the jars of peaches that Kate gave to him.
Well, number three...
What?
Shia LaBeouf tells us.
No, he didn't. He didn't say. He doesn't know who Sam is. How would he tell us that?
Well, okay, you're right. But Zero is like Mary Lou.
Well, I know that the boat's called Mary Lou, but we didn't know that his boat was called that.
Oh, I guess we didn't.
So go back to what I said, and then that's correct. And just don't listen to Jake. So then Peaches and onions is the secret because peaches and onions is racial unity. All right. Because Kate is a white woman and then Sam is a black man. So Kate represents peaches and Sam represents onions. And then Stanley is a white man or white boy, and then Zero is a black boy. And so together they save the day and they get rid of the camp. So the secret of the movie, the secret to success was racial unity. We all need to work together. Peaches and onions, baby. And that was the other meaning.
Okay, I agree with that.
And
Um,
that's there, but it's not as prevalent throughout and as prominent as like the destiny and
yeah.
sins of the past thing.
Well,
So again, Lewis, whatever your name is, Lewis Hackerman.
Lewis Sacker.
You this has meaning. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
He did it on purpose. He thought he was slick. He thought he could fool us.
It's like, no, there's no meaning.
Oh no, no, no. So yeah, cool. All right, now that you went on your rant, I'm gonna go on mine. The first thing I want to point out is that one of the first things that we see is that Barf Bag like sticks his foot out to get bit because it's so miserable at Camp Green Lake. Now at this point we don't know that it's Camp Green Lake, so we say, "Oh, Camp Green Lake, guys, don't use snake," but then we know that it is. Oh
The
yeah,
Holes has like a whole series of books.
really?
Apparently,
Yo, what the heck? 3 books. Why are there 3 books?
well,
Holes.
small steps. Stanley Yelnats isn't even it.
Oh, so it's not.
About armpit.
Oh, well, I don't care about that.
Yeah, because you're racist.
What? I just don't care about
Black people.
No, I care about Wait,
Oh,
I care
oh,
about Theodore,
oh.
not armpit. Theodore,
If you're racist, shut up. Jake's not racist.
because at the very end he's like, "Tell a Theodore said he was."
Well, I've
sorry."
got something to say about that too.
All right, well, go ahead and say it.
All right. So
No, actually, I'll get there.
okay.
Okay, so the prison industrial complex is like what the thing is called, but I'm not going to use that term because I don't want to talk about the industrial complex. I just want to talk about the prison system and how this is a critique of the prison system. All right, so obviously it's like a jail for those boys, right? They're wearing orange jumpsuits. Come on now.
Well, it was the alternative to jail.
Well, is it?
Yes.
Because what does a jail provide? What does Camp Green Lake provide that the jail doesn't?
Not being in jail.
Yeah, but they're still like isolated in the middle of nowhere and they have no way to escape. Now, granted, they do escape, but people also escape prison. So, there's
You
that.
don't escape.
Yes, they do.
No, the law lady's like, hey, you're innocent.
Well, no, but they run away. And they could not come back. They could have chosen to not come back. But like, there's like this cycle of failure that happens in this film, and I think it's presented by this film. And you said like the idea of like destiny. Well, I think that kind of plays into that. So like, because like you said earlier, because Elia Yelnats, or whatever his name is, decided to go against what was the norm, or whatever, however you want to say that, he led his family into this curse or whatever. And like in major cities, especially like black families, with not a whole lot of money, what happens is the parents, a single parent or whoever, will try to make money, but they're working like a fast food job or something, so they're not making a lot of money, which means they can't live in a nicer neighborhood with a nicer school. So their kid goes to a bad school that doesn't have like a whole lot of support from the government or whatever. And then because of I'm not gonna say bad school, but less opportunity school. Maybe that's a better way to say it. They don't get as good of an education. And because they don't get as good of an education, the tendency for them to drop out is higher, which then leads to them getting, that fast food job again. And then they'll get married or whatever, have kids. And then because they're stuck in this job, they can't get out of it. And so then there's just this cycle of bad jobs and not having enough money to get your kid a good education. And so that's kind of the same thing that plays here, especially with Hector, is like he talks about it. Hector's mom was working a bad job and she didn't have money to support him. And so then she like, what did she do?
I don't know.
Because like they were doing something. Oh, he said my mom couldn't always take me to her job. So sometimes she left me, and then one time she just didn't come back.
Yeah.
And so then Hector was homeless, and because he was homeless, he didn't have a job, he didn't have a way to support himself, so he had to steal. Now, granted, he didn't have to steal the shoes, but you know, I think that's just like a plot device. So he steals the shoes, and now he's sent into this camp. Well, now that he's in this camp, there's no way for him to get an education to get out of this rut, and so he's stuck there in this camp, Green Lake.
Okay.
And then the same thing with like what's his name?
Stanley.
Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, Stanley's thing, although not crime, it still is. You know, his family now has this curse, and this curse is a cycle. So it's always bad luck, and you can never escape it until you break the curse. So you have to break the cycle. But that's a very hard thing to do when the people in power, specifically at Camp Green Lake, are like, no, you're not going to break the cycle. I'm not going to let you. If you do, we're going to punish you. Which is the same thing that happened with Trout and Sam and Kate Barlow, is that progress is happening. Sam and Kate are like in love or whatever, but Trout, number one, because he's jealous, but number two, because there would be a shift in power that he doesn't want. He's like, all right, we got to get rid of this person. So they kill Sam. And then at Camp Green Lake, Mr. Sir, well, specifically, what's his name? Sigourney Weaver, when they found out that Stanley was, I about to say Sam from Transformers, when Sam was teaching Zero and Zero was digging his holes, Sigourney Weaver was like, well, you're not allowed to do that. And he was like, okay, I'll just dig my hole and teach him too. And she's like, no. He's like, why not? And she's like, because I said so. And so there's no actual substantial reason for this to happen, but she does it anyway, because if Zero learns how to read, well, then that poses a problem for the leadership.
I get where you're coming from, but it absolutely does not.
Does not what?
Him being able to read doesn't change anything in the camp. There's nothing for him to read.
Well, but it symbolizes like the ability to change something, right? It like represents the idea that now, if he can learn how to read, well, then he can learn how to do other stuff, and if he learns how to do other stuff, he can learn how to take over.
Take over what?
Well, just like, symbolically, Thomas. It's a critique. It's a representation.
It's a critique of what?
The prison system.
How?
I just told you.
But so if I get educated in prison, then I can take over the prison?
No, but I'm saying if you get educated, then you have the potential to overrun the higher class.
In prison?
No, but like...
Then how is prison involved?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I did know when I was watching the movie, but I don't remember now.
I mean, I get where you're coming from. I just don't think it's as solid as you need it to be.
It's there. It's there. I just don't remember.
Okay.
I did not watch this an hour or right before.
When did you watch it?
2 days ago.
Why?
Thomas, I don't know.
Well, anyways, about names. Names also play a big part in this movie, I think. Mainly because when the doctor, mom, Tim Blake Nelson, whatever you want to call him, comes in and is introducing Stanley to everyone. He's like, this is Theodore, this is Rex, this is blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, yo, my name's Armpit, my name's X-Ray, my name's Fritz, or whatever the other guy's name was. And then mom says, they all have their little nicknames, but I prefer to use the names that their parents gave them. The name society will recognize them by. And then I thought that was very interesting because this camp, hold on.
Just let it out.
I couldn't keep it back in. Better out than in, I always say.
Better out than in.
Because this camp actually functions as a society. So I wanted to look up the definition of a society to make sure I was correct.
We live in a society.
And what I found was a society is defined as the aggregate of people living together in a more or less ordered community. And I would say this absolutely fits that definition, this Camp Green Lake. Now, granted, it may be a different society than the one on the outside, but then that also is kind of representative of them taking different names within. And then one other thing that's really interesting is that the doctor calls 00. He doesn't call him Hector, and the reason he says for this is like we call him Zero because he's got nothing going on inside his head, and there's more to that. I think that I'll get to in a minute, but right now I'm still talking about the names. And Zero is the only kid that he doesn't refer to by his given name. Now, technically, Zero could technically come from Zeroni, so maybe he is, but he doesn't call him by his first name like everyone else does. And then throughout the movie, he calls everyone Theodore, and I mean, yeah, he calls everyone Theodore and Rex and stuff. And
Not
every
just
single
Theodore.
time
Just Theodore.
they get mad. But then at the end, Theodore says to Stanley, he like writes down his mom's phone number on a piece of paper. He's like, "Hey, call my mom. Tell her I say I'm sorry. Tell her Theodore says I'm sorry." So then they acknowledge that within this society of the camp, then they are different people than they would be on the outside.
Which is
And so
interesting.
that's interesting. Number one, just on that level, but then also there's the quote from Romeo and Juliet: "What is a rose by any other name?" So like what is in a name?
What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell just as sweet. That's the actual quote from
Okay, well
Romeo
then
and
what is
Juliet.
what is in a name?
That's difficult to answer.
Okay,
Do you want me to answer? Do you want to try to answer?
yeah.
Okay, well, number one, I forgot what you said that I was going to say something.
Well,
Um,
that's what you
dang.
get for quoting
Oh.
something.
Okay, so you brought up the point like there are different people in this society. So it's interesting because Mr. Sir is like, you're digging holes to build character. But if they exist within this society as a different people than outside, then it doesn't matter.
Well, but
Digging
they're
holes.
also not digging holes to build character,
That's
and
true.
we and
That's
we
true.
we the audience know that they're digging holes so that Sigourney Weaver can find whatever her granddad was looking for.
Well, but at that point we don't know that.
Yeah.
What's in a name? What I mean,
Well, I think this kind of goes back to what you're talking about with identity and Sky High. But before we go off on that, you mentioned Mr. Sir, and I meant to bring him up as well because throughout, as we mentioned in the recap, his name is actually Marion, and he seems to have a problem with that. But also throughout the film, he keeps saying that this is not a Girl Scout camp. And the first time he said that, I was like, that's kind of like a sexist statement to make.
well, it is John Voight.
What does that have to do with anything? Is he
Didn't
sexist?
didn't he do some bad stuff?
Everyone's
recently?
everyone's probably done some bad stuff.
Not
I don't
me.
know.
Except since Shrek
Um,
is God.
but
Well,
his
that's
his
my
his
opinion.
name is Mr. Sir, and then Stanley laughs at that, and he's like, "Well, you got a problem with that? My name's
Which
Mr.
is
Sir."
it is funny. It is
Yeah,
funny.
and it does sound like a joke. But throughout the film, he keeps saying things about Girl Scouts, and then at the end, it's revealed that his name is Marion, and so I think that's largely because he is insecure with himself, and then projects that onto the other kids. Like he feels like he has to be overtly masculine and overly masculine, and then that also is reinforced, I think, when he gets slapped by the warden and gets those
Yes. And then
poison things on his face, and then he's like, "Don't you think I'm pretty?" Blah 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 blah, and like goes on a rant or whatever because that that brings
well,
up
it
again,
masculinizes him.
yeah, and brings
If
up
that's is
all
that
of
a
his
word?
past insecurities.
Is that a
And so
word?
at the end, that statement of I didn't know that was a man's name, I think is inherently problematic, but within the context of the film, it's okay because it's addressing that Mr. Sir is
Right.
insecure with
Right.
himself.
Um I do have a question that I don't think is that why is he there? Does does Mr. Sir and Mom do they know what Sigourney Weaver is doing?
I assume so, mainly Mr. Sir because of like the
He is
conversations
a
they have throughout, but then also he's a felon himself, so
right.
he's probably taking refuge there,
Yeah.
which makes me question the legality of this whole operation and how it like got established to begin with.
It's true. Like that nobody was like questioning that they just had these kids out in the middle of the desert
Right.
just building
And
holes,
it had to be
digging
founded
holes.
by either the warden or her family
It's too
because
damn bad.
it was created presumably so that they could find the Kate
Fine,
Barlow
right,
stuff.
right. Oh, that's why I remember now about the prison. But I'll answer your question first. Um, Another one thing I wanted to point out is that like so Mr. Sir has like not integrity, street cred, we'll call it, or basically the kids fear him.
Yeah.
because of the reward failure
Punishment.
punishment thing, because he's like never predictable in how he's going to respond to things. And so when he gets slapped in the face with the yellowtail lizard venom, he loses a bit of that power because, as Thomas said, he is demasculinized. I don't know if that's a real word or not, but he is
Also, I didn't say
demasculinized.
that. Jake said that.
I said that, yes. Well, it was your point, so I
Yeah, but
was
if it's not a real word, I don't want that coming
to
out of
be
my mouth.
associated with
Yeah.
that. All right, demasculinized, and so that takes away that power that he had, and he's insecure about that now.
Okay. Yes.
And then identity. I mean, that's a really, really, really gray question. That
I think for in this film, it just gives the kids a sense of control because they have no control within this environment.
yeah, and
But
I agree with
then
that.
that also allows X-Ray, because I don't know if the other kids in the other tents have nicknames as well. It also makes reinforces X-Ray as like the boss of the group because he's the one that gives everyone the names
Right.
and orders everyone in the line and everything else.
Yeah. So about the prison system. This is I remember now because you're talking about digging holes. Essentially, it's like forced labor, kind of.
Yeah.
So like they in prisons they have all these people, and like the prisoners, like they do work. They produce things depending on what prison you're in. I know some like make like license plates or something, but like prisons, at least in America, have like a production that they do, and I think you do get paid, but it's very very limited. And even if you do, like I said, it's limited, but it is for production, and like it helps make the prison or the warden, whoever owns the prison, make money. And the same thing here in holes is that the warden has this ulterior motive of finding this treasure, which inevitably will not go to anyone but probably her.
Yeah. So how is Zero learning how to read going to overturn that?
I don't remember. Well, that part wasn't about the prison. That part was like the cycle of poverty. But I didn't distinguish those two. That's my fault.
Dude, you said it was prison.
Right. So I just said that was my fault.
Okay, well, I mean, this functions as a punishment, but it's the alternative for prison. So I don't really understand like the point of your comparison because yeah, it's the same thing because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
but it's not. But it's not really an alternative for prison. Like it is on paper, but it's really not.
Okay, and that's the point you're trying to make.
I don't remember.
Okay,
but I think so.
Well, all right.
But it promotes the cycle of poverty. I can tell you that for sure. At least symbolically.
I feel like there was one more thing I had to say. Oh, okay, yeah, here it is. All right, so when I was mentioning that in the name thing, the mom, the doctor, Tim Blake Nelson, whatever you want to call him,
Pedantsky.
Yeah, he's quite pedantic, if you ask me.
I was thinking about making that joke, but I didn't do it because I thought it was going to be too pedantic.
Well, I don't know what that word means. He calls Zero because he's stupid and he's got nothing going on in his head, right? And so there's this thing. I'm pretty sure there's a word for this, but I'm not sure what it is. So I'm just calling it negative reinforcement reinforces negativity. All right. So Zero is not stupid, right? But if everyone keeps telling him that he's stupid, then he eventually will internalize that and believe that he is. But and all Zero needs is for someone to believe in him, and then he can not be stupid. And then he can be smart, and that's what Stanley's trying to offer him. But as Jake mentioned, the warden tries to shut that down. So that's not like a greater, deeper thing. That's just something it's there, so I wanted to mention it. And then also, once Hector runs away, Mom says he had nobody. He was nobody. No one cares about Hector Zeroni, and that's why Mom calls him Zero, not because everyone he's stupid and has got nothing going on in his head. Mom calls him Zero because Mom thinks that Hector has no worth. And that's another thing I think is prevalent throughout the film.
Mom as in Pedantsky.
Yeah.
I was thinking you were talking about his mom.
No.
Okay.
Because throughout the film, these kids are essentially worthless to the camp.
Yeah, and that's part of what I was saying is that like they're just like they restrict progress as much as they can. They don't allow Mr. Sir says it's about building character, and like I think the warden says this is supposed to help them, but like in reality, it's not at all.
But how is that related to the cycle of poverty?
I already explained it.
But you
But
didn't.
okay, so the people in power, right,
Yeah.
keep the people that are not in power below them. And if the people are continuously below them, then they can't like a single black mother working at McDonald's.
Okay, why does it have to be a black mother?
Because that's okay, fine, it doesn't. A single mother living in a bad neighborhood, working at McDonald's, can't afford, and there's a public school in this bad neighborhood, but the mother cannot afford to move out and live in a better neighborhood so that their kid can go to a better school. And because in this bad neighborhood, the public education system is not as well funded and is significantly worse, the kid is not going to want to stay in school. Or maybe the kid does graduate, but there is no support, there is no progress. There's only come to school, get your grades, and then get out. And so because of that, they work a dead-end job like their parents. And then they have kids. And the same thing happens over and over and over again.
Okay. So how is that related to this film?
Because the people in power, the leadership, is trying to keep the people down.
But it's a prison, so like that's how it works.
That's not how it should work.
So how should it work?
Take a look at like Sweden, man, Norway. Prisons in America are not rehabilitation places.
Yes.
They are punishment.
Yes.
But it shouldn't necessarily be punishment.
But that's not related to the cycle of poverty.
I just told you how it was.
I know what you're saying, but that's not. I don't think that's how it works. What
Okay,
you're
well.
describing about the people in power keeping other people down is essentially Marxism, I think. But as far as the names go, and then mom putting them down, they don't really have a worth within the Camp Green Lake, because all Sigourney Weaver wants is a certain number of holes, and that's why whenever Hector runs away, she says, we still need 7 holes. So Stanley's going to have to dig an extra hole. And then as soon as Zero runs away, they bring in the new kid, Twitch, or whatever his name was. And then so now he fulfills that new body. And that's another reason I think why the name thing is important. Because they're separated from the identity they have on the outside because they are worth less. Not worth nothing, but they are worth less than they are on the outside in here. And they perhaps lose their sense of identity like they were on the outside, which I think I mentioned earlier. Then there's also a line earlier in the film when Mr. Sir is talking about his gun. And I don't remember if Stanley says something to him or what, but Mr. Sir says, I wouldn't waste a bullet on you. This gun's for the lizards. And so I read that as he values the lizards more than the kids. Although later in the film, he kills a lizard to save Stanley. But I think this could also be read as he was just trying to protect himself.
Because that scene is also crazy.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Then as soon as Stanley leaves, he's kind of losing his mind a bit. So he's paranoid about the lizards.
Because he's so close. He was this close to greatness.
Yep, and he couldn't cut it. He wasn't Orson Krennic.
He couldn't shoot it either.
Just no one emailed in. That's who said that, by the way.
Yeah, screw you guys.
Freaking fake fans.
Fake fans.
Although Sam Thompson did email in. He let us know his favorite arc from Adventure Time was Ice King. So
yeah.
Good job, Sam. You're a real one, buddy. Hope you listen to this episode.
Candy. We gotta tell him what candy is.
All right, what did Sam say candy was?
So number one.
All right, well, hold on. This is in response to our Dungeons and Dragons episode where we had a debate about high chews.
But he said to me, he said, "Ooh, also thank you, Jake, for being a connoisseur in Twitter profile pictures, and Reggie Gigas is a cool Pokemon."
Well, is that from the Dungeons and Dragons episode? Because I don't think that was.
I don't know. He just said I also just finished listening to the episode on Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't know.
All right, read the candy thing.
Well, I'm getting there.
Just get there.
He also said, I like the Ice King arc from being an actual villain to kind of villain.
I already said that.
/ friend to a cool guy. Well, I'm telling you what he actually said. He said, candy is sweet and loaded with sugar and sold at convenience stores and supermarkets. It's colorful and it's advertised to kids.
Well, I don't think high chews are advertised to kids.
I also don't think. Actually, I've never seen an advertisement for high chews. So
it's not candy.
And
bada bing, bada boom.
And then he says, that's pretty much it. and $10 if you know where that's from. Besides you, Sam, because obviously you do, or maybe you don't. I know where it's from, and Thomas, you know where that's from, right? Too.
Yeah.
All right. And he said that's pretty much it. Sent from my iPhone. This is Sam, by the way, with a bunch of arrows.
Good to know. All right, so I think I've talked about all my talked about stuff
Did I have anything on my other bit? No.
in holes. So Hayden, I hope that was worth it. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned why this movie's good.
Hayden, let me know if you understood what I was
Unfortunately-
saying, because apparently Thomas does not. And
Unfortunately,
maybe I'm just illiterate and unarticulate.
unfortunately, nobody blew up.
This is true.
Unless you count him shooting the lizard.
The lizard's head did go pow.
I think that's equivalent to a whammy zammy.
That was
I have no idea.
I'm gonna say 1.
Okay, I was gonna guess it too. So let's say 1.5.
Nah, I'm gonna go 0.5 then. To
Okay, so
average it out for a 1. Yeah,
All right.
because
Okay.
I don't think I can give it a 1.5.
All right. Well, then holes is a 1. So even though objectively I said whatever I said at the beginning, on the ready or not scale, it's about where everything else is apparently.
Yeah, 1 seems to be the loneliest number.
But not on this podcast.
Not on this
There's
podcast. There's a lot of 1s.
1 means company. 1's company.
Hey man, if we're playing golf, that's a pretty good score.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a phenomenal score. I think
I don't even know that's possible.
a 1.
Yeah.
Well, like if you hit
Oh wait.
well, par is 0, isn't
So
it?
if you're going by par, then you could get a 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, par changes on the course.
Well, yeah, but it was still 0, isn't it?
I don't
I think
know.
par is 0.
I think you. What do you mean is par 0? I just said it changes depending on the course.
Well, I know, but is par 0? Like if you get if par is 4 and you get it in 4, is that 0?
Oh.
And then a
I don't
birdie
know.
is
It
plus
depends.
1.
They'll either count it by strokes or it's minus plus. I don't know.
All right. If you know how
I think
golf
it's plus
works,
minus.
I don't care about putt-putt. If you know how golf works, send that over to pachinopodcast@gmail.com. Let us know. Actually, rewind. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to like and share. Make sure you leave us a review.
What are they like?
Telling it. I don't know, Thomas.
Do you know how podcasts work?
No. Make sure you. Okay, here. Let me try again. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Make sure you share on all streaming platforms, and also make sure you leave us a rate and a review so that we can know if you like us or if you hate us. If you know anything about golf, not putt-putt.
Golf is a fitting way to end this episode on holes.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's you know what? Camp Green Lake is just a Giants mini golf course. Yeah. Send us that over at pachinopodcast@gmail.com. We still want pictures of moms and dads. Again, we do it because we've done it. Send those over at Pacino Podcast. Send that over at Pacino Pod on Twitter. And that's all I got, Thomas.
Down sauerkraut.
Down sauerkraut.
What does that say?
I can fix that.
Stupid.